moderators can support your channel in even more ways. Introducing managing moderators. These users have the same capabilities as standard moderators, but so welcome back, families. I'm really happy to have everyone back. So we have a breaking news today. The son of the FLA leader of the Intalla faction, AG Alghabas, has been neutralized between the region of Anéfis and Ageok. So, ladies and gentlemen, the name of this terrorist leader's kid is Alghabas AG Jr. According to information, he has now been neutralized by a joint operation by the Malian FAMa and the African Corps attached to the Northern Theater of Operation. Good luck to him. According to information, they said at the time of his demise, 22 of his comrades were actually leveled by the Malians. I mean, KIA, killed in action. They are not, it's not like casualty, maybe they are injured or something, they are gone. So, according to information, recently there have been a fragmentation between the Alghabas AG alliance, the Angelic Axis alliance, and the Anéfis faction. So they were all together before, but now they've broken apart, and there is a sort of rigor between all of them. So earlier this week, according to information, they attacked one of the African Corps convoy with an improvised explosive device, and after they opened fire on the vehicle. According to information, the African Corps troop returned fire after the FLA opened fire on them, and luckily for them, the area support came, timely, and the intervention was rapid. So today, they tried the same thing, and a retaliatory counter-offensive came. So 22 now, the Malian farmer did not even know if there was one person among those terrorists that was actually the son of whoever. No. The line of contact is unforgiving, where you will not be judged by your complexion or by the son of who you are or by your family background. Everybody will be judged the same way. And according to information, the battle lasted less than 15 minutes. And in this 15 minutes exchange, 22 were KIA. Now, when you look at the northern terrain of Mali, there is nowhere for these people to run to, because it's a very plain ground. It's a very plain ground. And sometimes you might have rocks around. But when you have the birds chopping in the air, and you have the African Corps on the ground with the farmers, opening fire from every angle. So, it's so unfortunate that he had to, lose his son. And according to information, his son has been very active commander on the ground. According to information, he has been active for like a month right now. He has been non-stop trying to create chaos. And he has also coordinated operations with the drone units that were trained by the Ukrainians that came through the Mauritanian border. But according to information, most of their operations are being jammed by the electronic warfare of the African Corps units. So what we are seeing right now is that now that he has been knocked down, we might see a unification of the entire fragmented cohort of this FLA terrorist sect, or his father might go out of character and try to launch a revenge mission. And that is something about combat that is very important. When you poke the enemy to the point where the enemy lose all the calculation and everything, and they try to revenge, so they act out of emotion, and that might actually get the big dog in the get him in the basket. So according to information, heavy patrol has been going on along the Ageok and Anéfis axis, hoping that the terrorists return or whatever, and nothing has happened as of yet. But I can guarantee that they will try to retaliate some way, somehow. But I definitely know that the Malians will be prepared. So the level of warfare we are seeing in Mali currently is not the type of warfare where you have troops on the ground, boots on the ground, and every time, and you have people opening fire back and front. No, that's not what happens in Mali. There is high level surveillance in Mali. There is good intelligence sharing. There is quick response time when it comes to deployment of the QRF. Like Mali is operating on a different level entirely. Now, earlier this week, there was an information that has now been declassified. A group of 27 jihadists were neutralized along Sikasso. Now, according to information, Sikasso is a very, very important key axis. I call it Sikasso Mamasoni. It's a very, very important axis through which hydrocarbons that are coming to Bamako. Sikasso is a very important port they pass through. So the jihadists have been trying to establish a ground unit there. But ladies and gentlemen, according to the information we have, they tried up to 3 times this week alone, and it was complete KIA. Now, this is going to be long. I won't lie to you. This is going to be a long fight. The reason why I think it's going to be a long fight is because when you look at the attrition rate of the enemy, I mean, when you talk about the attrition rate, you are calculating the loss that the enemy is getting from every attack, every offensive, every counter-offensive. How many of their soldiers are getting knocked down? Now, the attrition rate is how much can they take? How long can they sustain this war? How long can they continue? Like, how bad have you beaten down the fighting them? So if you look at the JNIM terrorists, I think the attrition rate is still there. Like, they still have a not so good attrition rate. They have at least an average attrition rate. Why am I saying the attrition rate is still average? Because they have governments from, you have neighboring governments that are supporting, whereby, people of those ethnicity will be recruited vastly into, the terrorist sect. Now you have Chad, where they can recruit. Now you have northern Nigeria. Oh my goodness. They can recruit a whole battalion from the northern Nigeria alone. So, so when you look at the attrition rate of this terrorist sect, so I know a lot of people must have seen the video of the operation in Titao. It's now very common on social media. You can find it on X. You can find it on different platforms. When you look at the number of jihadists that try to approach Titao, you can see that yes, those people still have some attrition rate. They are getting deleted. Now, that's why I say this fight is an attritional war. It's a war where you have to demilitarize the enemy to a point where recruiting will become impossible. And at that point, that is where the Alliance of Sahel states will be able to categorically beat their chest that they've gained independence. Because if the enemy still has the ability to recruit, then you still have a big fight in your hands. Now, when the Nigerians are saying they have to prepare themselves for war and all of that, it's not like the French are going to move in. No, it's not like they are going to move in. More so because the citizens are on the same page with their government. They are not going to move in. The only case where we've seen them moved in history, when you look back at their, at the algorithm of history, you notice that there is always an opposition within the country. Then an opposition become militarized a little bit. Then there is protest. The protests become violent. And when the protests become violent, they send in their spies, they send in their DGSE agents, they send in different infiltrators. So the protests go from peaceful civilian protest to a violent protest. Then from violent protests, you are French based in Benin, you are French based in Ivory Coast, you are French based in DRC. They've just brought in French troops into DRC today. Today, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, they have French troops in DRC as we speak. They've just landed. And there was a French journalist that actually tried to fire back at them on X platform when they posted. And I noticed that when you click on his comments, X is telling you that there is nothing there. So we are in a time where the social media warfare has this battleground is no longer, I can't say it's fair anymore. So that means everyone has to be very, very careful with where they fetch information from. And in this time and age where you have a lot of AI, information, anything can happen. I do more live right now because I still have people say, oh, this is AI. Oh, this is AI. Even if they are seeing overwhelming fact, they still say, oh, this is AI, this is this. So when you look at the French bases around, that's why you have them hanging around. The French troops that were in Niger, that were in Mali, that were in Burkina Faso, that were kicked out, they all went to Benin Republic. According to information from General Abdurrahmani Chiani, they all went to Benin Republic. There is a reason why they went to Benin Republic. So that if there is any opportunity for infiltration, these are the rapid intervention forces they are going to deploy. So, and that's why you hear the Nigerians saying that, they are prepared for war now. They have to enter their war mindset, which is very, very important. All eyes have to be opened. Every intelligence is important right now. Nothing can be taken for granted because that's where we're at. So now we have the next important information today. After this information was released by the General Staff of the Malian Armed Forces today, after surveillance operation conducted on February 18, the aircraft of the FAMa successfully conducted 2 targeted strikes against armed terrorist groups in the Ké-Macina region in Segou. A first strike was successfully carried out. Now the videos are out there. If you want to see the video, you can go out to our Telegram channel. You're going to see the video. The first strike was successfully carried out against an ambushed armed terrorist groups that was preparing to take action against the FAMa logistic convoy. So what I have discovered is that some of these jihadists, they've been able to, over time, they've been able to calculate the timing of how the convoys move and all of that. And this is war, like I said, if people like Tuntun don't understand, if you can see this video, I want to use this opportunity to educate him. This is war. This is a war where you have foreign states giving satellites intel to terrorists. Okay, this is a war. This is not a counter-terrorism or terrorism operation or whatsoever. This is a war where you have foreign states or foreign deep states like the DGSC and probably the CIA, because now I have to include the CIA because the drone base in Niger, okay? The drone base in Niger. That drone base in Niger, America spent over $100 million. Over $100 million on that drone base in Niger to build, the Air Force Base 201. So they were kicked out of that drone base. And those people, they will always try to find a way to, but you must prove that you have either the asymmetric capability or the technological capability to stand your ground. And you have an extremely enormous level of mental dog. You must have it because this is what they do. Because now we are noticing some things that we're going to point out today in this session. Okay, even if a lot of people cannot, and that is the problem for me. I expect more from some people, but recently I discovered that they are not really the way they see information, the way they take information, the way propaganda works on them. I discovered that they are not really smart like that. I was overrating them, but my bad. So from the information, a second precision strike was directed against another group of armed terrorists that was trying to evacuate the wounded in the contact area. So this information is already out there now. The Malian Armed Forces, they put the information out there. After the first strike, a lot of terrorists were, they were destroyed. That's the right language to use for what happened right there. Now, I want to welcome everybody for coming in. And if you are enjoying the information we are giving, you can kindly help us to hit the like button. That's all. So now, after the first strike, a lot of these jihadists were paralyzed by the first strike. And, moments after, not far away from the terrorists, the group that were neutralized, another group came with motorcycle. They were trying to recover the ones that are already on the ground. Then there was a double tap. So the second strike actually finished off the job. Now, when you look at the blast radius, okay, if you look at the blast radius of the first strike, this is one of the most enormous strike I have seen. I don't know if the Malians have changed their, strike capability. I don't know if they've changed some, or if there is an improvement or modernization in their TNTs. The blast radius I'm seeing recently is on a whole different level. I saw one in Burkina Faso that was day before yesterday. The secondary combustion, I probably think the logistic convoy that was hit probably was carrying maybe hydrocarbon or something, because the combustion that came out was just very, very huge. So, but this particular strike was so devastating to the point that even terrorists that were outside the blast radius of that heat, you could see that some of them fell and they struggled to get back up. So by the time the second heat happened, it was all she wrote. So, ladies and gentlemen, according to a precise information by the Malian General Staff of the Malian Armed Forces, they said such operation reported that at least 20 terrorists were neutralized, as well as a complete destruction of their logistic capabilities. Now, the good side is we have 20 that are gone. We have a number that we can't count in Titao. See, this is Segou. Some were neutralized in Sikasso. Some have been neutralized in the northern part of Mali. In the Menaka region, some are currently getting neutralized. Now, the big question we should ask now is, where are the jihadists coming from? And how long can the financial support for this terrorism, how long will it continue? The financial support. So there must be, see, everything works together. That is why you see that there is a sort of anti-Russian campaign. As long as these people still have the economic strength to fund the terrorism, they will continue. So whatever some people are doing to them right now, I consider it holy. Because if the stronger they are economically, the more they will be able to fund chaos in Africa. And they will open the asylum door, hoping that you run out from your country so that they can, plug in and take your resources for free. Okay? Now, when you look at the financial supporters, don't get it twisted. It is not it is not Benin Republic authorities that are funding. It is not Alassane Ouattara that is funding. The fastest way to fund, when the jihadists they don't use transfer. They don't use transfer. They don't get alerts. You get what I'm saying? If you look at most of the jihadists, after they've been killed in action, the money is being recovered in cash. You can see that most of them will find, sometimes, they discover millions of CFE franc, with them when they have been neutralized. This is because there is no way they are going to be paid if these neighboring countries that are being used, if they are not being used, there's no way the terrorists are going to get the money. So the main funder of everything has been mentioned by General Abdurrahmani Chiani. It's not like Patrice Talon is bringing money out of the Beninese government's whatever. No, that's not what is going on. What is going on is somebody is sending money in, and these are the vessels through which the money gets to the terrorists. According to information, they said that Now they are going to transfer the money to some sleeper cells that are within the states. So they have sleeper cells. You know, what is going on in the Sahel, right, has every possibility of happening in this neighboring state. What they don't understand is that the mission is still the same, just that some people chose to fight against that status quo. Some people decided that no, we are not going to be the sheep, we are going to be the goats. So either they support the hegemon or not, the plan is still the plan. The plan is send terrorists in, displace people, get free resources and cheap resources. So before, it used to be the low value chain narrative. It used to be, let them export raw materials and you pay them low, you finish the product, you sell it back to them. No, this is not the time again. Now they are looking at a complete domination where because it's easy to them. Send in terrorists, displace the locals, go in with multinational companies, send in NGOs. Now, some of these NGOs are going to be like humanitarian NGOs, right? That are going to go in there and are going to say they are taking humanitarian aids. Now, you are going to have some of these countries say they are donating so humanitarian aid through those NGOs. The medications, the treatment is not going to the locals. It's going to some of the wounded fighters on the line of contact. So this is what has always happened. And it is because the Alliance of Sahel chose to stand their ground. That's why you are having an escalation. So the sleeper cells will be activated. So that some people are conniving. Now, according to the information we are hearing recently, the government of these neighboring states, they are negotiating. That's the information. That's the latest information now. They are negotiating peace. It's not like the jihadists. It's not like the jihadists are sensible. No. The jihadists want everybody to bow to that law of Sharia, right? So according to the information, a particular part of the territory in Benin Republic has been used as a bargaining chip, which is the northern Benin. Unfortunately, the northern Benin is the part of Benin that carries the largest amount of natural resources. The common Beninese citizen, the common Beninese, right, does not know what is in the northern Benin. So it's no fluke you hear that several different nations are already in the northern Benin. And the jihad is there. And in Ghana now, you are hearing about Galamsey in the northern part of Ghana. So negotiation or no negotiation, they are going to be there for a very long time. So the northern part of Ivory Coast completely now is being dominated by terrorists. No, they won't dare. They won't dare. So you have the Ivorian troops there, you have the French troops there, you have the JNIM there. So when you talk about the attrition rate, if you look at the attrition rate of these jihadists, it's at an average level because they are getting demilitarized. We cannot deny that. Now, what we cannot calculate, we cannot estimate the number of jihadists that are being killed in a month. We cannot, it's beyond anybody's calculation, right? Because when you study the videos that have been released by the government channel, sometimes these terrorists are just being hit somewhere. Do you get what I mean? They are just being hit somewhere in the bush, under some trees. They just get hit. Boom. You can't estimate, right? The ones we see that a lot of people talk about are the ones that have been hit in places that, okay, ground troops can go in, take videos, But what of those places that are isolated? Probably during reconnaissance operation, they just get to find out, okay, something very dangerous is going on right here. They zoom in, they zero down on them, and they discover that, okay, these people are not worshiping God the right way. And before you know, they give them what they need to do. They give them what they are supposed to get. The 72 virgins all day. So who is going to calculate the number? So now the attrition rate is very, very good for the jihadists because there is poverty in Africa. Everything is linked together. There is poverty in Africa. So poverty enables them to be able to recruit fighters very easily. So now we have a propaganda that is now going on in Africa, West Africa specifically, right now. And somehow, when you're going down to the East Africa, you're going to South Africa, there is a propaganda going on now. And the names of two countries that are attached to this propaganda is Russia and China. So I think I told people yesterday that currently the Nigerian government just announced out of the blue, the NDPC said they are investigating Temu because they got intel that Temu is interfering with the data of Nigerians. Now, Temu is a Chinese company that allows locals to buy things from China direct with your currency. You don't pass through any SWIFT system. As a citizen of Nigeria, am I in love with Temu? Yes, sir. I love Temu is the best. You give me 10 Western applications. I don't even know what I don't want to know what they sell. I'll go with Temu first. All my phones, I have Temu there. On my system, I have Temu. Temu is helping Nigerians. Things are cheaper. You can, in fact, our children right now, our students in Nigeria, they are learning robotics because they are buying the tools to enable education and the technology of robotics from Temu. Temu is a different world entirely. If you want to learn robotics and a lot of other things, you want to learn to couple things together and all of those things, Temu is the best platform. I'm not campaigning for Temu. This is what we've seen. I bought great things from Temu. Cheap price, fast delivery. And what happens when Temu gives you something and it's not what you ask for? You tell them they refund you without question. This is not how the Western religion, this is not how it works. So now you have Nigeria now coming from data protection perspective, they're now blackmailing Temu. And families, don't forget, there was a time I dropped an information sometimes earlier this week and late last week that America says some Chinese firms in Nigeria are funding terrorism. Those are the ones that are not, because in honesty, the amount of money that Temu takes out of Nigeria every week is atomic, like it's nuclear. It's not a small amount of money. And Temu has made it so easy that any demography of the population can be captured. Okay? Thank you very much. So what they want to tell us now is that WhatsApp cannot be used to target an individual for an elimination operation. This is what we've seen. So they want to blackmail Temu. That's number one. They want to blackmail all Chinese firms. And this is not the Nigerian government blackmailing these people. This is a fight. And my problem is, you can fight your fight wherever you want. Don't bring it to Africa. Don't see, we've battled with too much repression. We've battled with too much imperial leftover, right? We are grappling with it. Some of us We're ahead of time. We can see all these things from the get-go. Once the plot is coming out, we look at it, we'll be like, okay, now you're about to fall again, right? But a lot of people don't even know what's going on. Oh, because the government said it, they are good with it. The good aspect of it is that the most uneducated part of Nigeria, this propaganda does not work on them. The most so-called educated part, which is the southern part of Nigeria, this propaganda is working like the clockwork. Why? The mode of education they have is the Western education. So what happens? This is from my own practical study. The southern part of Nigeria believes that they are the most educated part. So when the propaganda is coming from anything West, because their knowledge is Western acquired, they believe that, oh, America says so, so there is no possibility that... that's why you see that a lot of them, even on our Telegram channel, the first time they came, you can see them saying, God bless America for saving the world. I can't imagine that in 2026, somebody will make that type of statement. Anyway, it's freedom of speech. Now, another propaganda is going on. A video have just been released by the Nigerian mainstream media called AIT. They said Russians are recruiting Africans. Now, I'm going to articulate everything to you so that you understand. They said Russians are recruiting Africans to fight on the battlefield in Ukraine. Now, there is no way. Now, I'm not going to speak. Okay, let me move forward. They mentioned some countries. They said these Africans are notably Kenyans, Ugandans, Kenya's number 1, Ugandans number 2, Ghana number 3, Sudan number 4, Nigeria number 5. Families, are you getting me? You see, let me bring out the key countries now, here, right now. You pick Kenya, you pick Ghana, you pick Nigeria. Why are they adding Uganda to this? If you look at Uganda currently, they are not only trying to blackmail the government of Uganda, they are trying to blackmail the partners of Uganda. Because in a way, Yoweri Museveni is dancing between both the BRICS and the West. Okay? So there is a fight between the BRICS and a dying empire. So they call the Old World Order, the rule-based order, or whatever they call it, that has no rules. Now, Sudan is part of it. You know, Sudan, everywhere is in chaos right now. So they can easily add names like that to it. Let's go to Nigeria. They are currently trying to blackmail 2 countries in Nigeria, China and Russia. In Ghana, there is a country they are currently blackmailing in Ghana right now, and that is Russia. If you go to Kenya, they've blackmailed Russia in Kenya this week. Now, if you look at the president of these 3 countries I just picked out of these 5 countries, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, these are dangerous allies of the West. Let's call a spade a spade. There is no need for theatrics anymore. Kenya, Nigeria, and Ghana, these are extremely dangerous allies of the West. Like I said, when Cyril Ramaphosa spoke the other time, a lot of you can see that I brought out the counter-offensive to what he said. I know a lot of people will jump on that propaganda hype job that, oh, Cyril Ramaphosa said Africans need to do this, Africa needs to do that, we need to get value for our resources, we need to prepare against another type of colonization and all of that. Stop that kabuki theater. You are lying to people. If you are not lying to people, your people will not be treated the way they are being treated. Israelis will not be buying land in Western Cape at God's speed. They are taking over the entire territory. You are coming back to tell us on social media. You are lying to us that you know, we need to prepare so that Africa don't get recolonized. You are colonized. You are helping to recolonize your people. I don't know where this leader has come from. Now that's South Africa. If you go to Kenya, President Ruto Ruto sat on the chair of Joe Biden. Ruto is the greatest ally of the West in Africa right now. That's East. And when you come to Ghana, forget about what you are hearing that in the Kotoka Air Base, you have, that you have a lot of things going on, that they don't have the audacity to vet whatever the Americans are doing. Stop that. Look, don't give us this kabuki theater. A lot of people don't understand what goes on. See, there is a reason why they call some things behind the scenes, because it's not the information that goes on along that route is not meant for normal civilian consumption. There is a reason why they call some files classified. See, look, the president of Ghana cannot ever jump out of the bottle and tell anybody that whatever happens with the Americans in Ghana, that he doesn't have a very good knowledge, about it. These are great allies of the West. And when you talk about Tinubu in Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, this is an information in the public domain. This is not me saying. The CIA declared categorically, they bragged about it. This Tinubu is their asset. They didn't call him a sleeper asset. The CIA said through their official X handle, they said it on all type of platform that they have access to. They said Tinubu is an active asset of the CIA. Active asset of the CIA. And when they infiltrate countries like this, through policymakers or whatsoever, they are going to be the one dictating the terms. Nigeria is conquered already. Ghana is conquered. See, conquering people is not when there is terrorism. There are different methodologies of conquering people. Nigeria is conquered from all angles. They don't need to conquer Ghana with terrorism because of the population, but they can conquer Ghana by infiltrating the system. So you see all this posturing and all these things, it's not, comparatively, it's not similar to what you are seeing on the line. It's not similar. From the Ghanaian American air base right now to Nigeria, more than 11 air flight mission has been going on. In fact, according to the information we had today, okay, they are here lifting the troops from Ghana to Nigeria. This 100 that just went to Maiduguri. Now, the security analyst said something. They said the Americans are going to put their base in the hearts of the terrorists. They are going to put their air base. Maybe it's an air base, maybe it's a drone refueling center, maybe it's a military base, whatever they want to call it. You don't put 300 combatants in a place for fun. In the northwest, they are going to be there. In the north central, they are going to be there. In the northeast, they are going to be there. So, based on information right now, what I want people to know is that when they scramble that jets from either Maiduguri or Taraba State or Bauchi, once they scramble that craft up and they cover the northern part of Nigerian territory, they have a clear area surveillance of whatever is going on in Niger Republic. Now, how they are going to be able to identify the military installation, I don't know. And they will have a clear vision on what is going on along the Diori and Mani airport. They will have a clear vision. That means they can drift from Nigeria, right? They can easily drift from Nigeria to Benin Republic and capture everything that is going on. And partly, they will not only see Niger, they will see a part of Burkina Faso. Don't let anybody lie to you that these people are coming to Nigeria to save this or to save that. Several Nigerian military barracks was overrun yesterday by the ISWAP terrorists. Completely. ISWAP is now dropping videos after videos right now. Like I said, there is no need for me to give you paracetamol if I have not done something to you that is going to make your body weak. Somebody just come to me and it be like, oh, this is phenobarbital, and I feel like you should take this medication. It's good for you. You don't even know me. You don't know my situation. Why are you giving me? Once they give you something in advance, I'm telling you, something is coming. So, and a lot of people are saying that why are they putting their base in the heart of the terrorists? Who are the leader? Who are the main? Who are the main terrorists? Who are the bosses of the terrorists? The bosses are here. Why did they tell Captain Ibrahim Traore that they don't want the war to end? They want to sustain the war. They are going to give the weapons and enough bullets. Nigerian troops captured some terrorists in Kogi yesterday. And when you look at the ammunitions that were recovered, so now, if they want to pay, if they want to recruit jihadists now, if they want to recruit jihadists from Nigeria that will go to the Sahel to go and fight or whatsoever, it will now be easy. And families, wherever they are going to be inside Nigeria, is going to be autonomous. Nigeria is not going to have the right to tell them anything. Okay? Now, let's now go to how this is connecting to these propagandas we are seeing. They are trying to remove, apart from the economic influence, apart from the power struggle that they're having with China, they're trying to make Nigeria a completely dependent country again. I don't know if PayPal is now working. There is a reason why they are reintroducing the PayPal to Nigeria. Nigerians were sanctioned and all these things were, the West rendered Nigeria useless. There was a time when Nigeria was interested in fighting terrorism because Nigeria wanted to fight terrorism during Goodluck Jonathan regime. According to the information from General Ejirika, he said that is one of the greatest generals in the history of Nigeria. Okay? They bombarded the terrorists to the point where the northern leaders were complaining. General Ejirika, once he tells Goodluck Jonathan that this is what they want to do, Goodluck Jonathan gives the go ahead. What happened? America placed arms embargo on Nigeria. Nigeria could no longer import weapons. Nigeria could no longer buy weapons. And a lot of people don't understand something. When they put arm embargo on you, you are not the only one. Like, they are not the only one banning you. All of their allies will no longer be able to deal militarily with you again. Anybody in NATO would no longer be able to do anything for you again. That's what they do. And Nigeria now became a country that was smuggling arms into Nigeria at that point through the black market. See what those people turned the whole country to. So, do I prefer the Chinese system? Anything from China, I prefer. We will develop our own, but while we are developing, China is the best. I am a Nigerian and I'm speaking right now. I'm speaking on the interest of me, my families, and a lot of people in Nigeria. There are people in Nigeria that want to deal with the West. It's fine. But a country as big as Nigeria cannot depend on the West. It cannot happen. And if a northerner come to power, they know that will be the end of that American base. They know that's the end. They know they are going to boot them out of Nigeria. If you ever hear anything about support for the alliance of Sahel, majority, see, once you cut Nigeria from the middle belt, you take it to the north. You see that part? They are pro-AES. From the middle, not the middle belt, some of them are Christians. When you see, every Muslim in Nigeria is pro-AES. How about that? I'm not talking about the Yoruba Muslims. I'm talking about northerners. Because by extensions, these people, you can even call them Nigerians. They speak the same language. Niger's official language is Hausa. In the northern Nigeria, you have a lot of people speaking Hausa. Same beliefs, same ideology, same everything. So, by extension, the most powerful part of Nigeria, the most, when it comes to defense and security, the most resilient is in the north. You have them collaborating with the AES. So now, militarily, you have America bringing in their base to this location, hitting the heart of Nigeria, which is Sokoto, like the Sokoto Caliphate and all of that, doing a lot of things, fighting China at the same time, blackmailing and saying that they want to sanction Chinese firms in Nigeria. Why are they now doing all of this with impunity? Because they have the government handicapped already. They have different classified files of Tinubu. Is it the certificate forgery? Is it the drugs? So when they say someone is an asset, it doesn't mean the person is an officer. It doesn't mean the person is a personnel working for them. You are an asset means you've been compromised. Look, they don't recruit you without compromising you. And there are levels to how they can compromise you depending on what interest they have. So before the CIA can come out and say Tinubu is their asset, they have too much on him. Now is a question for the Nigerians. Do you want to continue with a compromised person? America is going to continue to prevail on you, over you and over your affairs. Is the $1 billion truth. So now, according to the Russian Foreign Ministry in Nigeria, they said this is not true. That if Nigeria wants them to launch an investigation, that they are going to launch an investigation. Now, according to Foreign Ministry, once some recruits, the Foreign Ministry of Nigeria said, once some recruits arrive in Russia, their passports are allegedly confiscated. They are then forcibly conscripted and sent to the war front. Now, at the same time, on record, a Nigerian man was on camera calling other Nigerians to come and join him in Russia, claiming they can make significant amount of money by enlisting. What is the name of this man? His name is Obiora Okechukwu. He said, people who have gone were paid a whooping $40,000. Now they are calling it trafficking. Look, let me tell you something. I have seen a Yoruba boy from Lagos that was caught on the front line. Let me summarize it like this. If Russia opened a channel today, if they opened a channel today that Nigerians can easily access independently without going through anybody, if Russia opens a channel, if it opens a channel today, and they say the slots that they have for this channel, Nigeria alone, no, and Russia says the slot they have for this channel is 4 million people. I'm telling you, nobody will be able to get a slot maximum in 7 days. How many millions of people do you think you have in Nigeria? Over 3. Nigeria is much. Over 300 million people. Families, do you know what 300 million is? So, Somebody is now saying they are recruiting Nigerian. You are recruiting Nigerians that me and you know. He said 500 million. He said Nigerians that me and you know. $40,000. And you say they are forcing them. Nigerians that all of us know. You are forcing them to go and fight on the front line. 40,000 is not possible. No, even nobody can argue that with me. Those guys by themselves, a lot of people don't know what poverty can do to people. $40,000. Let Russia say they need 5 million conscripts. $40,000 in 7 days. Just Nigeria alone, you will not see any slot. You will beg for slots, you won't see. You are playing with Nigerians. So this propaganda coming out that Russians are confiscating is a lie. That is a complete lie. Is an empty Nigeria will be empty. Thank you. A lot of people know Nigerians. Nigerians, don't do that to us now. I know these people. They are going to tell Vladimir Putin, we challenge you to own another 5 million slots. do you know? Are you playing with these people? So this propaganda is very, very hilarious. That they are confiscating. See, if there are Nigerians over there that are begging the people making this propaganda that don't don't destroy the work of God in my life. They see going to Russia to even go and fight on the front line as the work of God. You are telling, if Vladimir Putin need 5 million, I said in 7 days there will be no slot again. $40,000. Now I don't know what their intentions going there will be, but I'm telling you that slot will now, even to leave to Russia alone. Now let's forget the money. Giving them 40,000 is you will get double that 5 million. To now tell them that going to Russia alone. No, don't do this now. Don't do this to Nigeria. Don't do us like this. So that propaganda did not work at all. They should stop it. They should go and look for another propaganda. So now in Ghana, there was a propaganda that happened recently. Now, if you look at the name, okay, if you go and find out about the name of that particular individual that they said came to Ghana from Kenya. Now, let's go back to the propaganda I talked about. I talked about Kenya, I talked about Ghana, I talked about Nigeria, Uganda, and Sudan. So they are trying so hard. Now, if you look at these families, look at these countries I talked about, hey, God of mercy, God of propaganda, you will not succeed in this one. See, Kenya, they have resources. Uganda have gold. Ghana have gold. Nigeria has all. Sudan. There is a reason why they are competing with China in these places. And it's not like they are competing. They are trying to blackmail China and Russia. Look at the names of the country I have mentioned. They probably would have said Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, but they just saw that there is no point. Those ones will not. Those ones will probably fire back at them, right? So there is a reason why they are trying to manipulate the civilians in this country. And what did they do? Now, like I said earlier, I was shocked when I saw the reaction of the Ghanaians. Oh, this one. First of all, have you vetted the identity of the man that came to Ghana? Okay. Have you now have you looked at the identity of that man that claimed that he is a Russian? And go and look at the narrative around that man. Oh, he's a Russian. He's a Russian. He's a Russian. Nobody mentioned his name. They started saying he's a Russian. He's a Russian. He's a Russian. the Russian man that was involved in so-so scandal in Ghana, the Russian man that was involved in so-so scandal in Ghana, and all of that. So, according to information, the Russian Foreign Ministry said they cannot even say categorically that he's a Russian. But before you know what is going on, the image of Russia is getting dragged through the mud. And look at how quick, okay? Look at how quick the propaganda was thrown out. Look at how, just calculate the time. The camera, information, and everything. That person is an agent. Don't worry, it's a matter of time. So, he didn't only conceal it. They said he was using a Telegram channel. Look at the time for harvesting the entire information. It was so quick. So if you now articulate everything that is going on, Russia propaganda, Chinese propaganda in these countries. Who is that? Let me see the name of the person. That's probably is out of my channel, actually. So if you look at everything, I can tell you categorically that there's a propaganda going on to reduce the influence of Russia in Africa, to reduce the influence of China in Africa, because they see Russia and China as a threat. A lot of empires have been built off the back of Africans. Why Africans continue to suffer. Okay? So I've blocked them. So what I discovered now is that somebody posted a video. A Caucasian came to Burkina Faso, and the entire video he made, he went to the worst place in Burkina Faso. I mean, he came down, you know, he was talking about the dust, he was talking about the sand. He said the cars are red, the houses are red. I think a lot of people should be properly checked sometimes. And it was funny to me because he doesn't understand that these things don't work on us anymore. You know, there was a time when if you mention Burkina Faso in Africa, during the democratic regime, if you say Burkina Faso, everybody believes that you are talking. In Nigeria, people look at you like, man, did you just say Burkina Faso? Nobody has ever been to Burkina Faso, but people will look at another person, you will hear them say, you look like someone from Burkina Faso. Just because of the propaganda. Because at the same time, while they were in Burkina Faso stealing resources, they were also carrying out propaganda to dampen the image of Burkina Faso. Look at the paved roads that Burkina Faso had. All the years that France was there. This thing is in the public domain now. We are not saying things that France did not do. Burkina Faso started developing under Captain Ibrahim Traore. For me, yeah, they were developing under Thomas Sankara, then everything stopped. So, like I said, when you hear some of this nation, right, saying that they want to come and have bilateral talks, there's nothing bilateral about the talk. Just know that your country is about to carry the weight of their entire economy. So when that European, you know, representative in a man called João Cravinho said that 28 European countries, is it 20 or 27, they are trying to come back to the Sahel. Just know they are trying to say that, you know. So for the people that don't understand what just happened in Ghana, right? If you look at Russia carefully, the entire Epstein file, nothing was traced to Russia. Nothing. All through the time you've been hearing about the Epstein file, Ukrainians are involved. The sister of Alassane Ouattara was involved. Plenty people are involved. And suddenly, something that looked like Epstein, something that you can categorize and articulate with Epstein, right, happened in Ghana. And who are the foreign people you have in Ghana that have their feet planted in Ghana? The Americans. Whatever that guy did in Ghana, you can actually relate it to what Epstein did. Okay? Some of the things that Epstein did. So they are trying to tell you in Africa, people that are not thinking, they are trying to tell them that we are not, Russians are not different from us. We are all in the same, because they discovered that Africans are beginning to come with this thing of like, Russians have no colonial past, Russians are good people, so we are the bad. So they want to make sure all of you now see Russia like you are seeing them. To them, this is a war. It's propaganda against propaganda. So protect your mind. Protect your mind. Dangerously protect your mind. When you see a certain, every information is meant for certain interests. So when you see any information that is somehow scary to you, you run. That is the fastest way to protect your mind. Block that particular outlet. It's not for you. Block that outlet immediately. Because propaganda is not a one and off thing. They continue to shoot it. So at this point, I don't want you all to forget that the propaganda has been going on for a while, but the root of the propaganda is that the West is trying to create Russophobia in Africa, and they are targeting specific countries that have critical minerals. That is what they are trying to do. Okay? You start seeing different bloggers coming to Africa. Some are trying to show people that, look, this is the result of the struggle of Burkina Faso. We in Africa, we know that Burkina Faso is a rising country. Actually, they know where they were. They are trying to stand up. A lot of people that don't understand where Burkina Faso was, please go and read about. A lot of things could be actually stained, but go and try to do investigation about what France was doing in these countries. What I can't imagine is how Mali was still able to develop to that level with everything that France was doing. So the richer you are, the more France is going to approach you with their aggressive plundering methodologies. So the great result right now is that they are now paving their roads. They are doing well for their citizens. It will take time. At least for me, for them to even establish, for the people in the Sahel to establish some balance mentally right now, it will still take, at least if it's very fast, maybe 5 years from now. Development. But what I love is that the locals on the ground, if you listen to them, they know the story, they understand the reason why they are struggling, and they know why they are fighting. That's the most important thing for freedom to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's at this point I want to appreciate you for coming back. And I want you to protect yourself. I want you to protect your mind, because the propaganda, every now is getting bigger. The propaganda network is getting bigger. We are seeing people that supported the fight, and now they are cross-carpeting to the other side. I understand it's freedom of speech, and they have the right to cross-carpet. But one thing I want to say is, if you know you want to join the other side, okay, be aware that there is limitation to what you can say. Don't pour dirt on people's struggle. Don't do it. There's karma. You can give out your information, but don't give. I don't know how I will put it actually, but there are too many people with different type of agenda. But the targets are the listeners. So please protect your mind. And remember, Africa is at war. This is not just the alliance of Sahel states. Africa is at war. And to get out of this war, Africans have to become smart, and Africa have to take their motivation from the past. The past is what builds up to the present and to the future. So please, before you call anybody a friend, remember what they did in the past. Remember what they did in the past, and don't ever forget. They don't change. People don't change. These are a bunch of racists. They've never changed. They will never change. It's not in anywhere. All this anti-racist kneeling, raising your hand and doing this thing, it's not going to work. They are the same people. And I want you to see them that way. And just look at yourself and tell yourself that you're a great person, because you are great. If you are not, they will not be coming to Burkina Faso to beg the way they've been doing. How many times? I can't count how many times different delegations have come to Burkina Faso for bilateral talks. Because the people in the Sahel have refused to be slaves. That's why they continue coming back. The reason why they are not going to some countries is that the people there, or probably their government, have surrendered. They've surrendered. So they are going to that place where the fight is still on, where the people are saying no, where the government are saying no. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to appreciate you all for coming back, and I want to say thank you. We'll continue to bring you more information as the information continues to come in. Thank you, and God bless you.